Hello, this is Kathy from Analog Soul Photography, analogsoulphoto.com. Today I'm going to show you how to put new leather on a beat up old SX-70 camera. You can see I have this one. The leather is rotten on it. I picked this up at a yard sale really cheap, and it's a great user. I have used it before, and I'd like to just clean it up, make it nice to use it again. I went on the internet and I found a pattern for the SX-70. This one includes the tripod hole on the bottom of the camera because this particular model does have the tripod mount. This is the Polaroid SX-70 land camera Alpha 1 Model 2. I think this is one of the ones that actually has a plastic body as opposed to the earlier metal-bodied one, so it's not as desirable, but I like the fact that it has a strap built in and the tripod socket, so it is a nice little camera to shoot with. I originally had thought of using something, an adhesive type of product, and decided that maybe possibly some contact paper. I picked this up at Family Dollar for, I forget whether it was $1.50 or $2 maybe. But I'm thinking this might be a little bit thin because when I remove this leather, it's going to be a lower surface and there's actually a ridge there. So this surface is actually supposed to be a little bit thicker so it doesn't sit below this ridge inset part on the camera. So then I was thinking about it and I watched another YouTuber. He was making a leather case and he was talking about using other products for leather. So he mentioned leather bags, and I remembered I have this leather bag that I've had forever. It was vintage when I bought it. I believe I purchased it in 84 or 85. I remember I was a senior in high school when I bought it. One of my first thrift store purchases when I discovered the wonder of thrift stores. And it's a nice bag. It has a textured kind of ridged leather. But what happened was it got so dry rotted I can't really use it as a bag anymore. I had to repair the strap here. I sewed it back together and it's just not in great shape, and I feel like if I put anything in it, it's going to just fall apart. It even has seams coming out here. So I figure the leather is good enough condition that I can cut it with this pattern that I found on the internet to put onto this camera. And the ridged black leather will look nice against the black body of the camera. So I'm going to go through this process with you and show you how I'm going to do this. Okay, the first step is to remove the leather from the old camera, and usually I'll try a couple different solvents to see what will actually cut the adhesive that holds the leather on the camera. I do the same for seal replacement. That's where I learned this trick actually. So I try rubbing alcohol. I tried that first and it didn't seem to cut the adhesive. But the Zippo lighter fluid, or I forget what the actual name of it is, hydro-treated fuel, I forget what the name is they call this, but it's the Zippo lighter fluid. You can find it at a lot of drugstores these days. And this does seem to cut it. So what I'm doing is taking, oops, I don't have the right one here. Let me get a Q-tip so I can kind of apply it little bits at a time and not completely saturate. What I like to do is use my old film canisters, and I'll actually have like a little reserve amount of the fluid set aside for jobs like this. So that way I don't have this big can that I can actually accidentally spill. So I'm going to take a Q-tip and kind of just saturate a little bit of the edge where I'm working. I'm probably getting stuff back in this film canister, but there's more where that came from. I'm always finding new uses for these things because I have so many of them laying around these days. And I don't want to throw them away because they're perfectly useful for some things. So I'm going to take this other towel, and what I'm doing is just kind of, I found this tool. It's actually a like a mud tool for walls, for filling in holes in walls. And it actually is kind of nice because it's not going to scratch anything crucial. So I'm just kind of trying to get underneath this rotten old leather. Put a little more and just scrape, and I'll repeat this process for each of these panels. I'm just being careful not to let it get down into any cracks. Same with the lighter fluid. I don't want that to get inside the camera. So I'm going to go around, work this a little bit at a time, and that will be my first step. And next step, I'll go into the pattern itself.